that struck me about the movie a lot was your voice, because we expect a certain sort of cadence from you, and you delivered a very different vocal performance.
Right. Yeah.
How did you develop that?
Well, normally when you are in a film, they send you the script and you work up what a character is. And what's wonderful about this film was when I went on the first day to try and work out what Doug's voice was with Nick Park, is he showed me this model of Doug and some animation, some test animation that they'd done of him, and he had this kind of long floppy hair and these massive optimistic eyes, and basically Nick and I just went and messed around in a God, that sounds incredibly dodgy, in a sound booth for an hour or two, and he talked about also how the tribe, so which is kind of Doug's family in the film, they all have different vocal qualities and tones, so I think he had a big sense of what they were going to be, and so he sort of channeled me into what he wanted. But
there's quite a lot of collaboration there in the process, because obviously with animation, the animators do so much work before the voice actors come in, or aside from the voice actors, but you got a lot of chance to work with them on that then, yes.
And what's weird about it is I know nothing about this process, but I always thought maybe the voice actors record the whole thing and then the animators animate it, but actually it's much more, it takes a long time, it's a couple of years, and you go in and you work on a little bit of the script, go away for a couple of months, they animate that. They then, in the meanwhile, have refined ideas in the script or come up with gags that they think are funnier, and so you go back into that bit, work on that a bit more and do the next part of the script. And so it's an amazing, continuous process that went up right until just before Christmas, when I had to come in and do a tiny bit of the end voiceover, and I had a hideous cold, and so suddenly Doug was down here. And so Nick, who is the eternal optimist, I was in the booth sort of going, I'm so sorry. And he was going, no, it's good. I'm like, Doug, can't talk like this. So that was a bit of a disaster, but other than that, it was great.
And you don't just work with Nick Park as a director, he's technically your co-star. He plays
Hognob.
He plays
Hognob.
Was that always the plan for him to do that, or did that kind of just happen?
It just sort of happened. But the thing about Nick, you've got to realise, is he can basically voice every single character better than anyone. And so what happens when you're in the booth is you try each line about 30, 40 different times, and if you haven't got it, and you know with Nick when you have, because you normally get a good sort of belly laugh, and if you're not getting that, eventually you go, Nick, will you just say it? And he says it, and it always sounds about 30 times better than you could, and then you just try and replicate it. So that's so I was thrilled that he played Hognob. It's great.
And obviously Nick Park Aardman's such a British, institution really. In terms of the previous movies, which ones had you sort of watched either growing up or really drawn to? What was the one that you were like, oh, I'm getting to work with this guy?
Weirdly, I love them all, and of course Wallace and Gromit were particularly extraordinary, but Creature Comforts are my favourite. If you ever want to get seriously lost down a YouTube hole, the Creature Comforts YouTube hole is a good place to go. It's so funny.
That's my evening then.
Yeah, it makes me very happy.
And one final question. You obviously are also in Fantastic Beasts 2 this year.
Yeah.
And in the first movie, it's established that Newt has this connection to Dumbledore.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask, how did you imagine Dumbledore in your mind when you were playing it the first time? And how was it then actually getting to act with a physical version of Dumbledore, and how did that differ?
Really good question. I had talked a little bit with Joe about what Newt and Dumbledore's relationship was in the first film, because it was alluded to, and then when they cast Jude, who I've known for a long time, it made such sense, because there was a kind of debonair quality to him, but also like a kind of playfulness and that felt entirely appropriate, but also there's a kind of weight to him. He has a weightiness, Dumbledore. Not a physical weightiness, a weighty of gravitas.
God, changed him a
lot. But when Jude arrived on set, he just looked so perfect. It sort of all made complete sense.